Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, if you're not into the revolver content that's going to be on the channel, you can skip the video, just wait for the next videos to come out. But I think even if you don't like airsoft revolvers that take the shells, I think there's still things to be learned. So I hope that you stick around, and we're going to discuss more in terms of my experience with the Chiappas again. So in the last video, you'll know I picked up not only the 40DS, but I also picked up the 30DS as well. I might try and pick up the 50 and the 60 because part of me, the collectionist, wants to have, the full range, the full suite. I've also trying to get hold of other replicas from like the likes of Wingun. So a few suggestions I should do the Dan Wessons. Now I did have a Dan Wesson years ago. The first Dan Wesson I had was when they first released them, but since then they've done the 715s, which have a lot better, I think, a lot better features compared to the old ones. They got better grips and stuff like that. So they're not that expensive. So people asking that question, I've ordered a Dan Wesson and it should be here within a couple of days, if not today or tomorrow. And a couple of other non common models, should we say. So I'm doing my best to source them. Some of them are really difficult to get hold of. I do want to get one of the Umarex Legends, the SAA 45s, or I think they called it the Cowboy Umarex Legends Cowboy something or other than that. It's basically an SAA 45 single action revolver. They don't have hop-ups as far as I'm aware. They might be fixed, they might be zero, I'm not too sure. But I do want to source one of them in the black finish. If anyone can help me out with that, please let me know down in the comments below or get in touch with me. So I've been messing around with the Dan Wessons. You'll know that I bought a load of shells. And they don't have the space for the moon clip, which is the way I wanted to run it, which then led me down a whole massive rabbit hole trying to find. They did shells that came with the limited edition revolvers, which had those little notches with the moon clips, but you can't buy the Chiappa branded shells with the notch in. So then I was looking at sites like JK Army and WGC. There's a brand called Homeland, I think it is. They do shells, they look very good. I think they're steel, and they have compatible moon clips and such. So that's the route I was going to go, but it was going to be expensive. And I thought, you know what? Let's delve into a bit of 3D printing. I'm sure I'd had a look online. There's various people that have done little bits and pieces, but you have to pay for the files and whatnot. So I thought, how hard can it be? There are things out there that you can get for the Dan Wessons in terms of like an all-in-one shell that's all connected. So what I did, instead of buying people's files online, it's nice to have, a file. So let's say I want to make this in CAD. It's nice to have that to then go off and make adjustments. STLs, it's not always easy to convert them to steps. I mean, I don't have the ability to do that or the know-how how to do it properly. So I started with a Chiappa shell, and I basically just tried to recreate it the best I could. Obviously, this is done on an FDM printer, so you haven't got the nice rounded curve there. But we have a Chiappa shell and we have a 3D printed shell. So very cool indeed. If you see, like, there's a bit of texture on the bottom, it's just the build plate that I use in my new FDM printer. So making prototypes on that compared to SLA, it's just a lot quicker and easier. So I started with this, got that. It functioned absolutely fine, much like the standard shells. There really was no variance. I made the through hole the same size. So these are like normal Dan Wesson shells, even though they don't say Dan Wesson on the bottom, they have a C. And if you pull them apart, all they've got inside them to restrict the flow is a little brass piece of metal. And what that does is it just goes in there and it restricts the flow of the CO2. But with obviously the 3D printing, once I've got the shell, I can just go in the file and edit that throughput size. I can't remember what this was. It was either 2.6 6 or 2.8, I can't quite remember. I think these are normally like a 4. So I just reduced it to a size that I thought was going to be great, and this one came out very much close to these, so they do about a joule. So I started with that. I then moved on to this. Now this is like a 6-shot all-in-one. It's like it's almost like a magazine, really. Well, not a magazine because it's not a self-loading. Would it be I don't know how you would, in terms of terminology, I don't know what category this would go into. But all the shells are connected together with this piece at the back. And if we take the shells out of this 30DS here, what you do, you take it and you just shove it in the back, and you can use it like that. And then when you want to reload, you pop it out and you've got that, and it's there, much cheaper than buying a load of shells and moon clips from like brands like Homeland and stuff. So that's what I started with. But then once I'd modelled this up, it's very flexible, and I just thought if it gets snagged or anything like that, it's probably going to snap. So the second version of that, even though the first version worked absolutely fine, the second version of that, I basically just added this ribbed section, just taking inspiration from something else that I'd seen a picture of on Google. And what this has done is it's made it super rigid and nice and strong. And then basically you fill that BB in each front of the fake shells, pop that in there, fire it off, and you can pull it out like that. And then because my mind wasn't satisfied with this, I was like, how crazy could we go with this? So I basically took the size that I modelled there and I times it by 5. I know people have done similar things for the Dan Wessons. Again, I'm not saying I invented this, but it was a nice exercise for me to basically go ahead and design my own version of it. So then we have this one, which has a much deeper cavity. Might be difficult to see because it's black. So you got the section here, and then you got a much deeper cavity in that one. And this takes 5 shots in each, so it's almost like a shotgun version of that thing. Now, the little, it's like having a devil and the opposite on my shoulders. And the one was just going, just send it, just put like 5 rounds in each, and just shove it in the Chiappa and fire it through. And for the first 3 shots, it worked phenomenally. All 5 rounds came out. I don't know what the power was or the range because I literally just fired it into my catch box here. And then by the time I got to the 4th shot, it blocked. And I was like, oh, that's not right. Tried to clear it. And what it actually did, again, me not thinking it through when I did it, I had no idea where the hop was set. Pushing 5 BBs through, it probably would have been okay on certain replicas, but on this, the hot rubbers in these are quite flimsy. So the problem that I had is by the time 2 or 3 rounds had gone through, it folded the hot rubber, and then it just came out. So this the 30DS no longer has a hot rubber. I can't find anywhere that stocks them. There was, I think, Airsoft Tiger had them in stock, but no longer does. I've tried to reach out to BO Manufacturer and a few other places. So that was the version 2 of the 6 shell, which works absolutely great. And then I printed 2 of these, didn't get around to it. So when I do, I probably will make these available in some kind of method. I know with 3D printing, everybody wants your files. They don't want to do the work. And I'm sure there's many people out there that will just want me to give this away for free. And later down the line, I might do that. I'm not too sure yet. This is just still, a prototype thing I've been playing with. That being said, the 30DS no longer has a hot rubber in it. So while I'm trying to source one, again, if anyone can help, if anyone knows anybody like at BO Manufacturer, please get in touch. I'd like to buy a load of them. And I think it'd be a good thing to make available for the consumers, so for you guys. So what until that happens, what I'll probably do is use the 30DS because it now has no hot rubber, and I'll show you that this actually does work. So it no longer has a hot rubber, so there's no hot rubber to to completely throw out. So they can be a little bit tight in these, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I'm not sure how many of you out there would use something like this. I just thought, I just read about someone doing something similar. I think they call it the scatter shell. And I thought, oh, that is such a cool idea because, you know, instead of having a revolver that's got 6 rounds in it, you've got a revolver that's got 6 shots at 5 shots each. So, you know, it could get you out of a situation maybe. And I don't know, if you had a revolver like this, would you use a scatter shell type thing? So yeah, if I don't ever get a hop rubber for this thing, the 30DS will be the shotgun revolver, and the 40 will just be the normal one. So just take a little bit to fill, especially when you're doing it like by hand like me. But I just wanted to show you that I'm actually putting that many rounds in each shell. So that holds 30 rounds, 5 in each. We've got the normal single shot one, and all we do is we press these in. It's got a little retaining, it's got in the geometry a little retaining ring that sort of holds them when you push them back. So you'll see they might stick out just slightly, and then you go in and just push them in like that so they're flush. So bear in mind this doesn't have a hot rubber, so we wouldn't be doing much distance with it at the moment. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll see there's no more rounds in it. We have the shotgun cartridge. Now it's safe to do so. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they come out in like a burst. You can't see them spread at all. So there you go. It will fire them, but it will just destroy your hot rubber. So I guess I'm talking to those people that if this is now in the past and these are available in whatever way, and you want to do this to your Rhino, take your hot rubber out first because you will destroy it. So that's where we got. So there are so many inconsistencies in information for these revolvers. Even though Wingun makes a lot of the shell-fed revolvers, they do different types of shell. There's like 4 or 5 different types of shells I've seen. The only consistency I've seen is the Chiappas sharing them with the Dan Wessons. Dan Wessons, they do multiple shells as well. It just seems like Dan Wesson revolver stuff at the minute, you just can't find it, the shells and stuff anywhere. So what I can gather is that the Chiappa shells that are sold just as Chiappa shells are low powered shells with that little restrictor in. So if you do have a Dan Wesson and you've got high power shells, if you pick a pack of the Chiappa shells up, you've got downgrade shells. So I'm going to leave it there. Just thought a little interesting bit of information. I think this is pretty cool, and it will make the you know, right. Let's do a demonstration here. You got your revolver. You need to load it. You pop your thing out. I mean, come on, guys. There's nothing cooler than hand feeding these in. It's like putting shells in a shotgun. There's just a cool factor about it. And even if you're not going to skirmish something like this, it really is good fun to play around and plink with. So it took, you know, a considerable amount of time to feed those in, especially if you're in a game zone. You're probably going to be dropping them on the floor or fumbling it. I've fumbled it so many times just trying it. So we pop the 40, and that's how quick we can reload it. We shoot our 6 rounds off, perhaps while we're in the game. I haven't thought of a way to carry these yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I'll probably make something. We could pop that out, pull that one out, take another one in our kit, push this back in, and we're good to go. So that's how fast we can reload it. I would say having it to hand, I can reload that just as fast as a mag-fed, you know, semi-auto pistol. So we'll leave it there on my journey into the Chiappa Rhinos. I'll come back when the Dan Wesson turns up, and we might compare with the Rhinos, because there's some interesting features on this that I want to talk about further. Not features, just fundamental features of the design of the revolver. So thanks for tuning into this mad video. Another one of my rambles yet again. As always, from me and Bench, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.